I feel like I have been waiting to make this video for so long now, literally for years, because it just didn't make sense to me until now. I'm excited to see what comes through, because last night I woke up at probably like 3 or 4. I'm in this routine with Duchess right now where she wakes me up at that time to go outside. Duchess is my cat, and then Aslan, anytime he hears a noise right now, he's like super hyper focused on his job of being a guardian, and so he does this thing where he just like bolts out of the bed, but he has to sleep right next to me too, which is really sweet. But then he, like, any noise that he hears, he has to go check it out. It's usually just Arlo. Walked in here this morning, or yeah, like 4 a.m. And Arlo was just like playing on his back. I was like, do you normally do this at like 4 a.m.? But that's what triggered Aslan, and then Duchess had to go out. And so in this is where I was trying to fall back asleep, and then I got the download for this video. And I was like, oh, okay, I have to write that down. And I would have forgot it, the topic. Maybe it would have come back to me at some point, but I didn't remember until I just sat down. I was like, oh, yes, okay. I understand. So for years, I was having this dream where I don't know the last time I've had it. I think it stopped actually when I started doing dream life sleep hypnosis. So if you don't know, I have a program called Dream Life Sleep Hypnosis where it teaches you my method of programming your subconscious mind, like dog hair everywhere. But you program your subconscious mind with your own voice while you're sleeping. Listening to your own voice talk about your dream life, it's so powerful and honestly super life-changing. Like many of you guys know, my life looked a lot different. Before I came here, I was in a broken down van in a hay barn, stranded on an island for 5 months. So then I started doing Dream Life Sleep Hypnosis, and I was launched here, and I stopped having this dream that I had for so long where it was like the constant or the common denominator of every dream like this was that I would like leave my body, not really leave my body. In the dream, I would be floating up, and let me know in the comments if you guys have had this, because it would be like I would start floating up and I couldn't touch the ground. Like I would try and touch the ground. A lot of the times it was because other people, I was afraid other people were going to notice. Typically there was like something like a entity, not like an entity, like a collective, that if they knew I could fly, that it would be bad. It would be dangerous almost. And so I would be trying so hard to get my feet back down on the ground, and I couldn't. And so then I would just have to, fly away, and I would have to fly and hide and like go to all these different places, forests and things. And it was always that, like that feeling of wanting to pretend like I couldn't fly, but not even being able to pretend. And so I think that started like almost 10 years ago when I first remember like talking to some psychics and mediums about that dream. And because we had like, my mom has this group of them that would come over and I would ask them about it. And so I kind of started exploring it there. Part of it felt like, and still feels like there's a certain magic that we all have, especially if you found this video. Like you're probably not from here. You feel that you're not from here. You know that you've been just playing human for this whole time, and that, you're answering the call that you got to come help Earth in this transition that we're going through on Earth. And you have this deep remembrance of where you came from, even if it's not like exactly, you can't pinpoint exactly what planet you were at last or whatever. Like that's not the important part. It's just that knowing that like this is a temporary experience, and you're meant to, be a part of this shift. And so knowing that, we know that we have these gifts and this knowledge. Like I remember being a kid, and I remember thinking to myself, like, I'm going to forget this. I'm going to forget this knowledge that I have, this knowing that I have. And at that time, like I can't even really pinpoint what it was that I knew that I was so aware I was going to forget. But it was like someone had told me before I came to Earth, you're going to be a kid and then you're going to become an adult. And when you become an adult, you're going to end up forgetting. And I remember forgetting what you know. And I remember looking at adults and being like, they used to know, they used to remember, and they've all forgotten. And like, that's what happens here on this planet. And so anyway, we go on this journey of somewhat forgetting that part of us, but it's been deep down, and it's really starting to awaken in the masses, and it's probably been awakening in you for a while now. And so sometimes it feels like we have to still hide that about ourselves and hide that knowing that we have, because certain entities on Earth don't want us to know that, don't want us to be awake, because when you are awake, you are not controllable, and then also you are leading others into remembering too, and you are changing the planet into remembering and shifting into this place where we're in a heart-centered place, we're in the 5D, we're in the new Earth, which these service to self entities, these dark service to self entities, which are being exposed in the light right now in front of our eyes, which have been here controlling the, I don't want to call them elites because I don't think they deserve that title, but you know what I'm saying. And so they, in another realm, in another unseen part of this existence, they've really been targeting those who have been awakened, who have remembered, and who have known in this example that they can fly, pretty much. Like they have this gift, and they're trying to pretend to be human. You're trying to pretend to be human. And so the ways that I've seen this happening is, you know, those who remember, the light workers, those who came here to help with the shift, who got the call, who remember this part of the truth of who we are. We've been faced with so many challenges, and you've probably been faced with, you know, maybe health, maybe financial, maybe just circumstances just that don't make sense with the knowledge that you have, the love that you have, the practices that you commit to. And for some reason, you've just been thrown into so many karmic lessons, like, and it just feels like back to back to back to back. And you're like, wow, my higher self really wanted to learn a lot. And I think that that is part of it. I think that these are almost like one and the same, because even the darkness came from the one infinite consciousness, I feel. You know, it all is God. God is the light and dark. And so I feel that, you know, your karmic agreement could be the same thing as a service to self entity coming after you because you are in a state of remembrance, or because you are, you know, a bright light that is going to change the earth. And so it could be one and the same thing, but I feel that that has been happening. And in a way, the other part of that dream was that I felt, and I still feel, that it was like a symbol of how I would kind of cope with the energies here on earth. And I talked about this in my video yesterday, where I just have been wondering, like, was I always just kind of living outside of my body, like in the ethers and in the clouds? Because now that ever since I started doing dream life sleep hypnosis and really got here to Portugal, started really embodying regulation, finding a new sense of like safety and stability and purpose, and like knowing myself more than I've ever known myself before. And ever since I've had this, it's like I feel very embodied. Like I've always heard that word, but I didn't really know it until I experienced it in this way. And so when I have these experiences where I'm talking with certain people in my life or certain groups and situations, and I have that experience of leaving my body, or even when I saw photos of like what's being exposed right now in the world yesterday, I think last night, some disturbing photos, and immediately I started to kind of like leave my body, and I have been noticing it now because I have a different baseline. And it felt very, very similar to the dream of like leaving Earth, leaving the body. And And so it's like there's the two sides to it, where it's part of it felt like magic and flying and this gift that, you know, I didn't want certain entities to see. And the other part felt like leaving Earth, leaving my body, and like not being able to come back down into my body, almost because, and this is like in hindsight, because it probably didn't feel very safe in my body. It probably didn't feel very safe on Earth. With that kind of energy running this planet, I feel that my higher self, my soul, got here was like, whoa, it is much different in human relativity than on the other side when we're like, yeah, we got the call, let's go answer the call. I feel many of us here are wanderers. And so in the Law of One, it talks about wanderers, it talks about how there are many wanderers here on Earth who this could be your first time incarnating. And I'm curious, do you feel like this is your first time on Earth, or do you feel like you have had many other lifetimes on Earth? Let me know in the comments if you feel comfortable. I've always kind of explored that because I always felt very foreign here. And I remember being a kid and just feeling like humans were so strange, loved animals, still love animals, love nature, but humans, I just could not wrap my head around it. And so when I've gotten on journeys to like the halls of a mentee, I've been shown more about that and more about what I have experienced on Earth. And from what I've seen and felt into it, was never a human experience, but there were visits that I had made at certain times on Earth. So that was really interesting. And so, yeah, I think that a lot of us, you know, even if you have had past human lives, I think a lot of us have arrived here at this time on Earth where there is this shift going on and there is this light being shined on Earth and these light workers coming to Earth. And so, of course, the service of self entities, the darkness, is going to latch on harder, try more, create more contrast in the life of light workers in order to maintain its control and maintain its enslavement of others. And so we came at a very intense time, but that's what we signed up for. And with all of this darkness being brought to the light, and with all of us who do remember and who have remembered for a while and who are remembering right now, we are inevitably in a change of consciousness here on Earth. And so I feel like it's a very divinely aligned thing that myself, and then I'm sure many others, are starting to feel embodiment, like on Earth, feel what it's like to actually live in your body, as strange as that is, but actually living in your body here on Earth for maybe the first time in this way. And that's because it's like your soul is starting to feel safe. Maybe there is enough light here down on Earth now that you feel more compatible with your body. And what comes from that, like the next evolution in that, I feel, is really like this topic of the new human. It's this topic of the DNA upgrades and like where we're headed. And so that has been what I've been being shown about what the new human really is. And it's that the light on Earth is making us more compatible for our human forms, because you probably, if you're really grasping this kind of message and you found your way here, you probably are a very evolved being. You've probably been called an old soul. You probably, you've been all over. You've been to many worlds from different starseed origins and all of that. And so there's a lot to your frequency, a lot that the typical human form, like when you were born, probably wasn't very compatible for. And so, like I was just saying, we're moving into the new human, to the new physical form, to a new amount of light here on Earth. And what comes with that is like the thing that we were talking about yesterday, where the mind will still have an experience with that. So it's like, okay, you come into your body, you're more aligned, you're here on Earth, a different experience, a different Earth. We're moving into a new Earth. We're moving into a lot of change. There's probably still going to be a lot of chaos happening as the darkness tries to control more and more and more, but we continue to shine the light workers, light warriors. This is literally where we start doing that. And you are a light warrior by shining more light, not shining more hate. what is more, I didn't watch the Super Bowl, but I did like what I saw on the screen of like the only thing that's more powerful than hate is love. And so shining more light than ever is going to help with this. And as you do that, your mind will be like, holy shit, this is unfamiliar. You know, if you're used to toxic relationships and that's just like all you've known because you were raised in a toxic environment, and even though you are a spiritually evolved person and you still for some reason have that association or had that association with romantic partners, when you finally move out of that dynamic and you've healed all that and you attract the good person, the healthy person, your mind might still tell you alarm, 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 because it's unfamiliar, because they're so predictable. You might be like, there's something wrong with them. Like your mind will try and find reasons why it's unsafe, even when it's safe, even when it is not the good. I don't like using good, but when we're headed in the healthier direction, because the mind wants something that is familiar. And so there's that process of, okay, we're coming down into our body. Our body, our physical form, our physical earth is starting to become more compatible, more safe for your essence, which is this divine ancient being. And now we arrive here and the mind's like, whoa, where'd you come from? What is this? What is this reality? I feel weird, you know. I think I've used this example one time before, and guys just probably won't understand. Maybe there's something similar, but I just remember when I was a teenager and I just started like getting boobs, and I just remember this incredible, uncomfortable feeling. I just felt like it was like anxiety and like, I don't know, it was like just a full body uncomfortable thing because my body had changed. And my form in reality, my vessel in reality had changed. And that was such a big thing, right? Because that is something that you're with every single day, an energy that you navigate this world with every single day. And so it might feel a bit like that for a little while as we start to come back down into our body, and maybe you're feeling that right now. All normal. It's all part of the plan, and it is inevitable. It is an inevitable. Try it. It is an inevitable part of existence and part of this time on Earth, and this answering this call and being here for this great awakening. And it's hard to say what Earth is going to look like when we are more embodied, when we finally can come down and stop hiding in the forests and being in the spiritual closet and like, you know, silencing parts of ourself and parts of our knowing and parts of our creativity and our vastness. Like, Earth is going to change. It is changing. And reality is going to change. Now what's coming through is like money is going to change, the way of money, the system of money, the importance of money, the distribution of money. There's so much about abundance is going to change. And there's going to be a lot of, I think, I want to say conflict. There's going to be a lot of resistance to it. There's going to be a lot of contrast to it. I think a lot is going to happen by 2030. And after that, I think that, you know, there will be the chaos, and then there will be a lot of change, and then I feel we're going to find some balance after that, and we will start to settle in to moving towards a more harmonious way of living on Earth, where we get to be more in that space of creativity being a currency and getting to have, it's the space, like the space to be. Like, I was just kind of journaling today, and I was reflecting on where I am now and where I desire to be. And I was looking at the emotions that are attached to where I am, and the emotions that I perceive will be attached to where I desire to be. And really, at the root of so much of what we desire is being safe, being secure, and being free. And really, it's like being safe and being free. And so we are moving towards that. right? We're moving towards that because when you remember the truth of who you are, you remember the infiniteness that you are, you remember the love that you are, and so you will always be safe when you remember that you are an infinite being and that you are divinely protected, and you let go of that fear that is, potentially causing momentum of outcomes in your reality that are related to fear or related to feeling unstable or are related to feeling trapped. When you remember the truth of who you are and start embodying the truth of who you are, you start embodying the freedom that you truly are, the limitlessness, there is no end. Infinity is that there is no end to you. There is no end. There is no such thing as being trapped. There is no such thing as being unsafe. If you are love, of course you are safe. If you are light, of course you are safe. If you are infinite, of course you are free. What a time. What a time to be on Earth. Let me know if you're feeling this, if you can sense it's about to happen, or if it is happening for you. I know that it's interesting navigating it. It's like we've all just got boobs for the first time. And it will start to become more and more normal. You will get used to it. Your mind will have the evidence that it is safe. And you will start to move forward in this new embodiment, and your life will change. Allow it to change. Keep working with your nervous system and telling it what is safe, and that it is safe to be seen. It is safe to be loved. It is safe to have enough. But you don't have to always do things out of chaos and out of struggle and out of pain. That you can grow through passion, you can grow through peace, you can grow through ease. And that's really where you've been being called this whole time. And all that other stuff just had to happen in that way so that you could reach this moment and this frequency right here. And so if this resonates and you feel like it's for your highest good, you can say, I choose to receive this frequency here, this remembrance here. If it is for my highest good, thank you, and so it is. You can breathe it in too. Wow, that was a nice one. It's like, I always say this at the end because I feel such a physical shift whenever I do these videos. That's why I love doing these. I truly, truly love doing this. And I plan to do YouTube for the rest of my life. If we have YouTube, I don't know what's going to happen with these solar flares and whatnot. Stephen Burns, watch his channel if you're interested in that. So very fascinating this reality is. If you want to join me in Dream Life Sleep Hypnosis, I have that linked below, and all my other 21-day programs and a 12-week course as well. I am going to be updating, again, my Dream Life Sleep Hypnosis tonight, or today at some point. I'm also going to an improv thing tonight, which I've never done before. Not since I was in plays. I used to do plays when I was younger and like do musicals and stuff. So probably at that point I did. So it'd be interesting. Human interaction. And yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. I love you so much, and I will see you in the next video. Please make sure to like this video, subscribe if you have not subscribed, hype this video if you really, really want to support this channel. You get 3 a week, and leave a comment if you feel like leaving a comment. If you want to say something and you're not sure what to say, you can go ahead and put a wolf emoji. We love wolves here. We love wolf energy here. And that is all that I have, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.